What is going on YouTube? This is JGrayBKK and we are back with another fun episode of South Park Phone Destroyer. Yeah, boy. Yeah, so I tried to make this video last night and I just completely fell asleep. I don't know what happened there, but I fell asleep. I woke up at like 6 a.m. and it was like, oh no, what is going on? I thought I had to go to work. I didn't. And yeah, so here we are. We are getting our free pack of cards right now. Give me something good. And we are going to get coins. I need those. Money. I'll take that. Indian feathers, I can't get enough of those right now. Ancient fossils, I would be happy to have more of that. And Calamity Heidi, I have way too much of you. But that's okay. Right now, we've got a couple of minutes until we can get our next PvP pack, I believe. So I kind of wanted today to yeah, PvP pack is back. What I wanted to do today was talk about the decks a little bit, and because the worldwide release of this game is coming out oh so soon, but we don't know when. On the live stream the other day from Red Links, we had that guy Steve, or Phone Destroyer Steve, depending on which forum you're reading. And they went through and they talked about a couple of the cards. And I thought, you know what, let's go through and talk about that. Let's see what we got going on. So first, I wanted to talk about my deck. And you can see right now, there's 2 different themes. And in this game, there's 3 or 4 themes right now. I'm not sure about that, but we're learning. Yeah, so you can only have 2 themes per deck, which means that you can have 3 different types of cards. 3 different types of cards, meaning you have your common cards, like Nathan here. He's just a blue, and if you see right down in the bottom left corner of his card, there's just like a little face with nothing special on it. Then if we go and we look at, let's say, Calamity Heidi, down the bottom you can see a cowboy hat. She is the adventure theme. And then also right now in my deck, I've also got this fantastic sci-fi theme. So in each deck, you can have 3 different themes. And that's you can have 3 themes. You get the major themes, and then you could have 1 common theme. Well, there is only 1 common, but you can also have common as well. Then the next thing that you really want to pay attention to is the type of cards you have. First, let's go and let's look at this type of card right here. This card, Mimsy, is a tank card. And because he's tank, he has a lot of health, but he has a very low attack, and his range is low. And typically, the attack on the tanks is quite slow too, I found. But they could take a beating, and that's always good if you're trying to get a lot of the enemies to come to you in one place, and then you can hurt them very badly with the area of effect attacks, or splash damage, as some people would say. The next type of card that we're going to be talking about is the Fighter. So the Fighters are the next type of card, and they're kind of, if we look at the tanks at the bottom of the rung, meaning they have the most defense, but they have the least, or they have the most health, but they have the least amount of attack. The Fighters, they're 1 step up, and the Fighters here, they will be able to help you out because they have a decent amount of health, and they have a decent amount of attack, and their attack speed is also okay as well. So these people will get the job done. These are going to be your grunts. They're going to make things happen. The tanks, they aren't going to make things happen. They're just going to kind of crowd control, I guess. Moving on, we have... Nope, don't want to talk about that one just yet. Next, we are going to go to the ranged attacks, or I call them archers. These are the guys just with the longer range attacks. They'll typically have less health and less attack because they're staying away from the battle. And they won't be able to do as much damage as a fighter, but they'll be able to, when you have a tank, these guys will work really well behind the tank because they aren't taking any damage and they're just adding in that effect that you need. Moving on, let's talk about my favorites, the assassins. The assassins will have a very low health, but then will also have a very high attack. And they kind of attack quite quickly too. So like Smuggler Ike, right now, he's kind of my go-to guy. He's my man. He dies really easily, but if you have your opponents looking at Mimsy or Cartman, who are your tanks, then you don't have to worry about that because they're going to be attacking Mimsy or Cartman, and Ike's just going to be raging in that little pile and just killing people over and over and over. And that's just fantastic. Then we have one more type of card to talk about today, and that is your spell cards. Your spell cards, they do a lot of different things, and you just got to see what they are. They have no health. Their attack could be high, or they could be a healing card, or they could buff up people, or they could buff up your energy production. So you just need to make sure to look at those and see what's going on. So that's about the cards, and that's the types of cards that we have and what you can do with them. But then there's one more aspect to the cards that you really need to pay attention to that they mentioned in the live stream the other night, and that is the effects. So if we look at our boy Warcry, Outlaw Tweak, he has Warcry, and Warcry has one effect where when you put the player on the playing field, it immediately affects it. So he throws dynamite for 25 damage if it hits the enemy leader. If it doesn't hit the enemy leader, then wait, max upgrade limit reached, collect okay, sorry. Yeah, so if you hit the enemy leader, you're going to do an additional 25 damage. He does 124 as is. So he's going to be able to kill a lot of people, and the range is very good, it's okay with this guy. So after he does it, you're done. The next buff is charged, and as we see with Gunslinger Kyle, all of the allies, they get 36 attack for 3 seconds. So when you put this in, you'll see a little ring going around the bottom, and you'll see it in my gameplay quite a bit as well, that when you are upgrading, or when you're playing, you'll have like speech bubble pop up above their head, you push that, and then they'll use their charged effect. Cartman is also charged. Let's see, a cute and deadly assassin that runs with scissors. That's not a buff. That's not a buff. Let's see, I don't believe I have any, actually I have one more buff that I can talk about specifically. Let's see right here. Death Wish. And what Death Wish will do is, when you die, it helps somebody else on your team, or it might hurt the other players on the other team. So if you use a Death Wish, once your player dies, this is really good. And so what I really like with this one is that if I have like Ike really close to Butters, that's really good when Butters dies, because he dies in one hit from some enemies. So if you do have that, it helps out quite a bit, because then Ike gets that additional speed and he just goes in and rages like crazy. Other than that, I think I have had, oh, and then the final one, so let's just recap really quick so I can make sure I have everyone. We had the Warcry, we had the Charged, we had the Death Wish, and then we also have Headhunters. In Headhunters, they go for one person and one person only, and that's the enemy leader. So if you're in PvP, they're going straight for the new kid. If you're in PvE, then typically they'll go for the strongest person. I'm not sure about that one, but they work really well for that too. And that's it about the cards. So as you can see, there's a lot of different things that you need to take into account when you're playing your cards, because it could affect your playstyle, it could affect your tactics, and it definitely will affect your game that you're playing. So I hope that helps out a lot with you guys. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. That is going to be it for this episode of South Park. Just a little learner's guide so you guys know what's going on. And if you like this video, please make sure to click that little like button, and also make sure to subscribe, because that helps me out so much. And then if you click that little bell button next to the subscribe, you'll be notified every time that we have a new video coming out. So thanks a lot, guys. This is JGrayBKK.